Okay, so thanks everybody for coming. We're here to share about the Certified Naturally Grown program, which we kind of call it an alternative organic certification. And we're really excited to really try to bring this to Kaua'i and make it more common as an alternative to organic certification because of our small farms. And oops. So real quick today, what we're going to go over, I'm going to talk real quickly about our food hub programs, how they work, and reimbursement for the CNG for our vendors that sell into our food hub. And then Keegan here with us is going to go through the history and background of CNG, how to get certified, benefits of certification, and then do a nice Q&A. So any questions that you have, we can kind of go through that. So real quickly, our food hub buys about $500,000 in local produce. I think we just did our numbers for last year and we bought from 126 different producers across the island. So we're still pretty small, but we work with a lot of farms. And we do everything: fruits, vegetables, herbs, value-added products. There's no minimums to sell your products with us. You sell your own prices. We're more of like a reseller. So that's kind of how a lot of our vendors will work with us. And, you know, where do we sell them? A lot of it's through food distributions. So Kapuna and Keiki bags. We did over 10,000 bags last year that were distributed to community members in need. We also do all kinds of commercial clients. We have schools and ECEs and restaurants, and then regular consumers, so residents. And that's on our Thursday program that we also have Snap into Bucks. So that's all exciting ways to kind of feed your community and where the food that we're purchasing actually goes out through. And we do have a lot of benefits for our producers. We're really doing this for farmers. So it's really important to us that you have a good experience and that we can kind of help you on your path. And this reimbursement program we're starting is really just meant to be another benefit or incentive of being a vendor with us, that we want to see you be supported in that way. So if you have any questions, I'll share some contact information. But if you did want to get involved in selling products or participating in the reimbursement program, you'd want to be a vendor of ours, which is pretty much submitting us your info. You can get us a voided check so we can do direct deposit of all your payments. And we'll have you contact Haley and have a conversation with her about what kind of products you have, which markets might be a good fit for your products, where your drop-off points are convenient for you. So that's just a quick wrap up. So why are we bringing CNG to the table? I have to say, for many, many years, buyers have been asking for clean, organic, quote unquote, produce. And so when we list people on our sites and their products, we can't call you organic if you're not certified organic. We could get sued over that. So unfortunately, we have tons and tons of farmers who produce very clean product, who don't use like synthetic and chemical based products and fertilizers. But since they're not certified, we basically have to put them in the conventional category. And our buyers don't want that. You know, there's a lot of people that really want to see some things clean. So what CNG is going to allow us to do is to market your products as certified naturally grown, which once we explain what that means to our buyers and they realize it's really an organic certification for a smaller farm in our mind. You know, it's for less intense, less money, a lot easier of a program for small farms to be able to manage. And I know, you know, seeing people go through the challenges of trying to become a real certified organic farm, and it can be very, very intense and lots of record keeping and things that are maybe outside the scope of your farm. So hopefully this provides something that maybe could be for you and is better within reach for you. So if you are a vendor of ours or you want to become a vendor of ours, just a little bit of information: we are willing to reimburse your certification fee. So you get certified and then you submit to us that you got your certification, and we'll reimburse you what you paid for your certification. So our team also, we're here to help. So if you I think some remote inspections might be happening while we try to build up our inspectors on the island. You know, which we'll talk a little bit more about that process, but you know, our team can help at least with helping with the remote inspections. You need someone to come and carry the camera around for you while you tour your farm, or need some support or have questions. Like our team can be here, but we're really not the experts. We're not qualified to perform inspections, so we'll talk more about that. But also, we'll only reimburse you for the certification of the products that you're selling us. So if you get a livestock CNG and not a produce, you know, we'll reimburse your livestock if you're selling us livestock, but vice versa. So that's it. Here's my information, and also Healy Molnar, who is our senior food hub coordinator. She does a lot of the liaison work with the farmers, and there's a few different websites if you want to learn more about our different programs that we have available too. So with that, I will pass it along.
That's her talking.
Well, thanks, Megan. That's an awesome intro. I'm going to share my screen here quickly. Kind of quickly. Okay, can everybody see? Cool.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
Yeah, it's half cut off.
Yeah, I think you gotta go full screen mode maybe.
That's interesting.
There we go.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Keegan Athey. I'm a farmer in Colorado, actually. It is pretty cold here today. My executive director, Alice, will be joining us hopefully a little bit later to help with the Q&A. She's battling a East Coast snowstorm, so we'll send her our good vibes. So a little bit about me. I was a veggie farmer in Idaho for many years, and I was actually CNG certified way back, starting in like 2014. And yeah, I heard about it from other farmers, and our co-op required it. And it just ended up being a really great program. So it's been really cool to be a part of it, kind of on the other side, being CNG staff and getting to work with such a broad range of farmers. So I'll give a little overview of CNG certification, kind of how we got started, why we think folks like to get certified, how you get certified, and then what are the perks, what do you get out of the deal? And then we're gonna have a big Q&A at the end, so you can either throw your questions in the chat and we can address them afterwards, or just write them down or something and you can call them out in the Q&A. All right. So CNG started in 2002, which is the same year that the National Organic Program started. So it was basically a response to the National Organic Program. So everybody was really excited that this legislation was coming out, but it just really wasn't designed, and still is not designed to this day, for smaller farms like Megan was saying, and especially for folks who are direct marketing their produce. And so it just wasn't a good fit, but their hearts were there. They're like, we want to be a part of this organic movement. You know, how can we be a part of the party, basically? So we really see ourselves as partners to the National Organic Program, not competition, if that makes sense. So we're serving a different group of farmers than the NOP is. So today, many years later, we're now an independent nonprofit, and we're nice and strong. So we have over 700 members, farmers, beekeepers, livestock folks, flower folks across 46 states. So we've grown a lot. So kind of a good way to start, and the way folks often think about CNG is like, okay, is it organic? Is it not organic? What's the same? What's different? And so our standards are based on the National Organic Program standards, with just a little fine tuning to make them more accessible to smaller farmers. So how do our CNG production practices mirror organic? So still no synthetic chemicals, so no synthetic fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, seed treatments, or any other synthetic inputs. Non-GMO, that includes feed, cover crop seed, etc. And then the values are the same. So we as organic farmers, CNG farmers, hopefully all farmers, we want to enhance soil and ecosystem health. We want to emphasize biodiversity and sustainability. We want to provide habitat. We want to use the natural systems that are present to support us and support those systems back. And so how does the CNG certification process mirror the organic certification process? And this is where we start to see some more differences, which we'll talk about shortly. So this is still a rigorous process. This is still a standards-based process. So you have to apply. This is not just a pledge that you say, I'm going to do great, yay, right? Like you're applying, you're taking the time. I will say in the farm I manage now in Colorado, we're certified organic. And I know really well the differences between the two certification programs. And the application requirements are very, very different. So yeah, a little bit more practical for CNG. You also are going to have an annual on-farm inspection, just like you would in the NOP. You're going to provide your input list. All those inputs need to be OMRI listed or checked by ingredient with CNG or organic. And then just that general commitment to standards. Okay, so what's different? So the big one, the one we all talk about, is the cost. So the farm I manage in Colorado, we have 100 acres. We are paying around $2,500 a year minimum for our certification fees and for paying an inspector. So obviously that's not super accessible to most folks. CNG, we have a sliding scale. We ask $200 to $300 per year. And part of the reason that we can get away with such a low cost is this peer review inspection process, which is a system that's used internationally. It's used all over the world. All kinds of countries use peer review inspection, PGS, for their organic certification, essentially. And what that means is that farmers inspect other farmers. So as a group of peers, we are bringing each other up. We're staying on the same level together. So your success and your compliance means I am more successful and more compliant, which is a really cool system. And what that means is we don't have to pay $1,000 to an inspector who's coming from the city or whatever. And then the biggest difference is just that this is designed for you. It's designed for folks who haven't found a good way to fit into the National Organic Program. So who are these CNG farmers? Who are these people who make up our 700 plus members, and where are they selling their produce? So they're a pretty diverse group of folks from all over the country, all sizes. We have teeny tiny quarter acre backyard urban growers, and we have huge, we have some big commercial garlic operations. We have some orchards. We're kind of all over the map, but a lot of times our producers are not selling to big grocery stores a lot of times. So they're selling to farm stands, farmers markets, co-ops, independent grocers. food hubs, right? That's why we're all here today. Local restaurants, CSAs, some online platforms. So yeah, lots of room for lots of folks. This is definitely a certification that you can grow with and take along with you into your different accounts as you and your farm progress. So we have a couple of different certification types. So I heard from Megan that most folks are produce growers, but there are a handful of flower growers and maybe a pretty good sized handful of folks who are interested in laying hen production. So our produce and flowers, so our veggie growers and our flower folks, that falls under our produce and flowers certification here. And that also includes trees, microgreens, etc. We also have an apiary certification for our beekeepers, an aquaponics certification, and then our livestock certification. So that would be for our laying hen folks. And the big differences between the livestock certification is obviously quite different from the produce certification, and it's also based on NOP standards. But the biggest sort of differences is that CNG has actually strengthened the pasture and living conditions requirements from the NOP. So it's actually a little bit more strict in that sense. And then we also require all feed to be grown according to CNG standards and obviously be non-GMO. And then we also have a mushroom certification as well. And we can talk about some details of all those in the Q&A if we need to. So just some sweet quotes from our sweet members. Liz of Owl's Nest Farm said, "It's both educational and comforting to have access through CNG to the wisdom of farmers with similar concerns and growing conditions." So we hear this over and over again, that having a network of farmers, which of course you guys already have here on Kaua'i, is a really cool part of CNG, and just having another platform to connect with those folks. And then here's kind of a quote from a guy, farmer in British Columbia, sort of talking about that, the difference between organic and CNG. So we wanted the support and the credibility that goes with being part of an international body that certifies natural farming best practices. CNG is perfect for our farm because they believe what we believe. So lots of shared values there. Okay, so say you think I've made an okay pitch or you really want to sell to the food hub or whatever, you're ready to get certified. That's great, congrats. So how do you do that? So first, you review the standards. So you check them out. Are they clear to you? Are they a good fit? Hopefully a lot of the standards and practices you're relatively familiar with. Maybe you'll have to make a few tweaks here and there with your seed sourcing or your transplant production, or maybe your potting soil isn't in compliance, etc. But so you'll make a few adjustments, you apply online. It's a really nice, simple format. And then CNG will get back to you, our certification specialist, within 10 days or so. And I would just go ahead and fill out your application, even if you have some questions, and then Kat will review your application and then help you on the way to get into compliance, and let you know if you need to be transitional for a year or something like that. So the annual requirements are very minimal compared to the National Organic Program, which is very cool. So every year you sign a declaration, mail it in. You also submit your membership dues, so $200 to $300, which sounds like your awesome food hub is going to help you out with that. And then you also arrange your on-site inspection. And so this is a really cool thing about CNG. is you get an inspection and you also give an inspection. So we have what's called the work requirement, which is you are required as a CNG producer to get an inspection and to give one. And that allows us to have this peer review system. And we can talk about the kind of modifications that we're going to make for you guys, maybe in the Q&A. Alice can help us out with that. So basically, you get to inspect another farmer within about an hour from you, and you verify that standards are being met. You go through the inspection paperwork together. You get to share, connect, learn. And this is a really cool part of CNG. I always learned so much during my inspections, whether I was giving them or getting them. It's actually really special to get to be on someone's farm in the middle of the season. I found, at least for me on the mainland, I would hang out with people and other farmers at the farmers market or maybe in the winter, but it was really rare we could actually be in each other's growing spaces during the growing season. And that may not be the case for y'all, but it was just a really special, great learning experience. Okay, so say you got certified, you did your application, you submitted your dues, you worked with CAT, you got your inspection. So what are the perks of certification and how can you get the most out of your certification? So tons of marketing benefits. So of course, selective markets. So more and more buyers like this food hub are choosing to prefer or require certification. Grocery stores, food hubs, farmers markets, aggregated CSAs, people all over the country are asking the same questions that y'all's buyers are asking. And speaking of standards, that's actually a really nice thing. Like, I don't know how many times I gave the same elevator speech of like, well, I'm not certified organic, but I follow all the practices, and customers at the farmers market are like, what does that mean? We don't know what you're talking about. Be more specific. And I'm like, there's 25 people behind you in line. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot of emotional energy for folks to do that all the time. And CNG can do that work for you. So you can say, oh, we're CNG certified. Here's a pamphlet, or here's the URL to the website. You can look it up. And another really cool thing about CNG that's very rare in any kind of certification body is that every farm's inspection report is posted online on their profile. And we can talk about that a little bit more later, but a lot of transparency. So that's great for those customers who really want to know what's going on your farm. We also have tons of cool marketing materials, banners, produce ties, signs, stickers, all that stuff helps. And then, yeah, we have that online presence, which we'll talk about what that looks like. So on our website, all CNG members are listed. So you get to click find a farmer near you, and you go on over to the map. It's all listed by state. And then you can find, you see there's all kinds of, I'm like pointing to the screen and you can't see the screen, it's full Zoom world. Here you go. And you can find where the farms are and then zoom in and be able to click on their profile. So these are all our CNG farms in Hawaii, and hopefully we're growing. And then you can zoom in. And so these are all the CNG farms on the Big Island. And then once you clicked on a farm, you go to their profile page, which has all kinds of contact information. And again, you can access that, their signed declaration, their inspection reports, and you can actually see if they're in compliance or not. So if they're due for an inspection, or they haven't paid their fees yet, or whatever. So it's very, very transparent, which is pretty rare. And then you, as the farmer, you get to customize your profile. So you put in some pictures, tell your story, get your logo in there. And then there's also links so that customers can contact you directly. So there's a little email button and that'll email them directly. So it's just another sort of hub for folks to find you and your farm, which is kind of cool. Some other marketing materials we have, all kinds of fun stuff and practical stuff, bumper stickers, nice signs. This is a nice market sign that kind of just gives a nice overview so you can get rid of your elevator speech. And then you get a certificate, which lots of folks laminate those and put them at their farmer's market stand or farm stand or whatever. And then the biggest perk, I think, is that you get to be in community. You get to be a part of this, just another network, another way to connect, another way to learn, another way to share. And obviously you guys, I'm sure, have an incredible community on Kaua'i and in Hawaii. And that's great. We love that. And we're just another way to connect you guys to each other and to other folks. And I know just from my experience, I found a lot of mentorship and friendship through my CNG membership, and it ended up making a big difference for me in my career. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Made it kind of quick and dirty. So we have lots of times for questions. But yeah, please be in touch with us. You can holler at us anytime. We want to support you. We want to know what you guys need, how we can support your journey, how we can make this program work for y'all and work for you guys on Kaua'i and in Hawaii. So yeah, I appreciate your time, and I'm going to stop the screen share now so that we can all chat. Okay. Are we back?
Yep, all good.
Oh, great. Thanks, Annie.
That was super informative. Thank you so much. I don't even know what my questions are.
Awesome. Well, I just want to introduce, if you click over on the top of your screen, you'll see Alice Barron over there. She's our executive director. So she's also going to be on call for us if you guys really stump me with your questions. And it'll be
toughest questions you have, we can take them.
Yes.
And if you're too shy to talk on camera, you can put your questions in the chat and I'll bring them up as well.
Nice. Yes.
That was great, Keegan. It's so fun to hear you present. I'm normally the one doing them. Like, oh, it makes me so happy to hear someone else doing this. Just awesome. And that it's even better than I could do it. So you guys are lucky you got it from her.
And there is a little bit of props we have, not a question, but what a great way to help smaller scale producers access these certifications and level the playing field a bit with the big guys. Thumbs up. Good job. Thank you.
Yay.
I wonder if I could put the website for more information in our chat as well.
Oh yeah, that would be great. I can actually do that as well. Because there's actually one page that's especially nice. This sort of, why join page is especially nice.
Right.
And it gives you the basic information you need to know. In the meantime, do folks have questions maybe about some specific standards, or maybe what are kind of the common stumbling blocks for folks as they're first getting started? We could also jump into the kind of specific inspection considerations that we're formulating for y'all.
How long does the certification process usually take?
Yeah, great question. It depends on your speed of typing. But the application, I think, normally probably takes, if you have a pretty good sense of your operation, it may take you an hour. Would you say so, Alice?
I would say max to fill out the application. It asks you questions about what are your pest and disease challenges and how do you handle them. Most of them you can answer off the top of your head. So yeah, maybe half an hour, but that's just the first step. And then to complete the process is the on-site inspection. And that's often what takes the longest, to coordinate with someone to pick a date and make it happen. But it can be as quick as 2 weeks. Usually it's more like 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in the coordination of the inspections. If it's a peer-to-peer thing and we don't know what we're doing, like how would we inspect another farm, and then who coordinates that? Is there a representative on Kaua'i, or do we do it through the website? And then how's it work?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's often trickiest in the beginning when we need to have a starter seed to get things off the ground. But we'll certainly work with you guys. Probably the best thing is to start with a couple of the most experienced farmers. And we're actually planning some trainings for folks that could help. But generally speaking, the inspection worksheets have detailed questions and guidance on what is allowed and what's not. So as you go through it and ask the questions, it should be clear. And then we, of course, review it after it's sent to us.
Okay.
Alice, I have a follow-up question. This is Megan. We've kind of talked about this too, and that we really need to, build up our first batch of certified farms so that we have an inspector pool, really. So for this first batch, you said in remote inspection could be possible to get a couple of these folks. Can you maybe describe what that remote certification inspection looks like, and when do you foresee being able to schedule some of those with somebody?
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, well, we'll work out some kinks together, I'm sure. But in general, what the remote inspection looks like is the inspector, the peer reviewer, is in their home office at their kitchen table with a laptop, usually, or computer. And we set up a Zoom call where that the inspector can see the farmer's operation through the farmer's cell phone. It does require that there's a self-service on the farm in the growing area. And they'll usually start with a tour of the farm, check the buffers to make sure there's no nearby conventional ag that might pose contamination risks, and then go through the inspection worksheets. All the usual questions will be addressed about their growing practices. And our recent development is to include observers, some of our newer members, so that they can watch the process and learn and get, so that inspection benefits not only the farmer receiving it, but newer members who really value the opportunity to learn about another growing operation and get a better grasp of CNG standards in the process.
Yeah, and I would say, just to follow up on that even if you are inspecting in person and it's your first year, it's just part of the game, and it is definitely it can be a little scary, but it's pretty special. And we hope at least everyone we'll make sure everyone has enough experience that they can inspect, and you just get better at it year to year. So you guys aren't alone in feeling initially overwhelmed about the idea of inspecting, and we'll just make sure we get everybody up to speed, because it is a pretty neat thing, and it's a skill. People just get good at it.
Yeah.
How long is the inspection sheet? Like, is it like 25 pages, or is it like a 3-pager?
I think it's maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's on our website. You can certainly review it ahead of time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I can link to that too. And yeah, our remote inspections take about 2 hours, remote or in person. There's definitely a lot of material to cover. And then in person, you end up chatting probably for another hour after that.
Yeah, those can be longer.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know how many certified CNG farmers there are in Hawaii and then on Kauai specifically?
There's none on Kauai right now.
None?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
All the CNG farms are on the Big Island.
Okay.
And there's maybe 8 or so. That's also, you can check them out, see if you know anyone. That they're listed on our website, as Keegan mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you guys have obviously unique considerations since you're a chain of islands, and inspecting is not an easy thing. And so it seems like it's going to have to be kind of on Kauai. You guys have a movement that we help get started, and then eventually it should be able to sustain itself, which is what's happening on the Big Island.
Yeah, it seems like it could snowball.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah. And then I see a question. We're on Oahu. How could we get certified here? I imagine we'd probably have to do a similar thing. We'd have to kind of have a few growers, but maybe we can, as we work out the kinks, we can all stay in touch, and then you guys at the Food Hub can get the deets out to everybody, and then folks are, of course, can contact us.
Another question, say that I have, if I were to get the poultry certification as well as the produce certification, is that 2 memberships of 200 to 300 a piece, or is there like a bundled membership?
It's the dues are by farm, not by certification type. So we leave it up to you. Because we don't want
2.
Yeah.
I would need 2 of them then.
Correct.
Okay.
You would, yeah, 2 different applications for those different types of operation, but 1 certification dues for the whole operation. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole farm. Okay. And I want to also mention that we have a variety of options for inspectors besides other CNG producers. You can rely on a certified organic farmer or a non-certified producer using natural methods. So those are options, especially for areas where we don't have a lot of engagement yet.
Yeah, and extension agents sometimes too are able to step in in the beginning.
I'm glad we mentioned our extension agent. She's right here. Hi, Emily.
Oh, I know. I was gonna bug Emily and call her into the conversation too to just share some of the services that she offers, because I feel like she's so knowledgeable and might be able to help people potentially with their startup or applications maybe.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we accidentally just volunteered her.
No, I'm happy to help, and thank you so much for taking the time to present and talk with us today. It seems like a really great opportunity and a good fit for a lot of our producers. I actually had a quick question. Sorry, I'm driving, so I might be a little in and out, but I was wondering if there are any specific soil or water testing requirements?
So we don't have a water testing requirement, and we don't specifically require soil testing, but we do highly recommend it. Yearly soil testing. And there are certain products that you must have a soil test in order to use, certain deficiencies if you want to use certain like chelated nutrients.
And that's for produce operations. For mushroom operations, we actually do require a water test.
There you go.
Great, that makes sense. Thank you. And so no testing for pesticide residues before certification, for example.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I think if you're transitional, you know, our certification specialist, Kat, will work with you on your application. And if you need to be transitional for a little while, and kind of how that process goes, she kind of deals with that on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, but the rule of thumb is if there were some prohibited substances applied on the land within the past 36 months or within 36 months of harvest, then the operation would have transitional status, but we're doing it differently than the organic program. That doesn't prevent you from participating. It just is a designation on your farm's profile to indicate that you're still within that transition window. But we want to encourage people down this path, allow them to get credit once they are using these practices. So it is possible to get certified when you're within that transitional window.
Perfect, thank you. A lot of folks have some concerns more about legacy residues from previous land uses, but that would go back, 10 years or more. So it sounds like most locations would be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, accessibility is a big priority.
Oh God. I've got one. My dog is asking questions. I've got one question. Can the CNG label be used for farm value added products made from produce and fruits grown on the CNG certified farm?
Yes. And there's some restrictions. I mean, the majority of the value added product has to be ingredients that are certified naturally grown. And because we don't have standards for processing, I guess what we do is we allow you to use the label and indicate that it was certified naturally grown tomatoes that were used in it. That's a fine distinction that doesn't really disappoint many people, but yes, it's definitely an option.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
It's always hard to think
hello.
about.
Can't tell if that's a question or an echo.
It
Oh,
was a super fun song.
couldn't hear you there. Sorry. Well, if you guys remember all your questions, keep them coming. We have most of the answers.
Yeah.
Very good. So if there's no other questions, I'll actually stop the recording right now.